Oh, hey,
Yeah, welcome in, Romans.
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for asking. Romans, are you at least 18 and are you a believer?
Yes, sir. I am 19 and I'm a believer.
Cool. And can you get a little closer to your phone? It's kind of quiet.
Can you hear me better now?
Yep, that's good. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So, which God do you believe in?
I believe in the Christian God. So I would say my worldview is Orthodox Christianity.
Sure. And what would be the best evidence or argument for the Christian God being real?
So, okay, so I would approach it in this way as a comparison of worldviews. So I think the Orthodox Christian worldview, or I think that would apply also to the general Christian worldview, does a better job at okay, let me put this in a logical format. So the premise would be that God is the necessary condition for the existence of objective morality,
I don't believe in
of
objective morals, so
logic.
that's going to be the first problem.
So no, I would have to prove that objective morality exists. So that would be
Right.
a step in my argument.
Yep.
So God is the necessary condition for the existence of objective morality, of logic, of the self, of our ability to trust that our senses actually graft on to what reality is. So my second premise would then
Well, you have to
be
support
that
your
these
first
things are
one.
true.
You can't move the
Yeah,
number
yeah,
two
yeah.
yet. What's to support your first one? So we've got two problems. The
Okay,
first part of premise number one is objective morals. Why would I believe that morals are objective?
because in order to have any working moral system, you have to have objective morality. Otherwise, it just
No, you don't.
crumbles to relativism, right?
No, you don't. You don't have to have objective morals.
Okay. How?
Why would you need them?
Okay. Okay, you were talking about, I heard you a lot talking about the good. So you had this idea of taking the good parts out of the Bible.
Mhm.
So I would ask you, what is your idea of the good? What is the good?
A good is inherently a subjective word. Like if you look it up, it's clearly a subjective word. Like what I think is good is not always
Okay.
the same thing that you think is good. And what you think is good is not always the same thing that the Bible God thinks is good. Because the Bible God thinks that slavery is good and handing out little virgin girls as spoils of war is good. You certainly wouldn't think that's good. So the problem with
Maybe
using words
someone else
like
would think that's good.
I know, yes. Some people think it's good. That's the thing. So
Are they
we
wrong?
have pretty clear evidence that morals happen to be subjective because nobody can actually agree on like what actually is right and wrong, what actually is good and bad. Everybody seems to have a different opinion. And if there was an
So,
objective code, I would need evidence for it.
so then how do you criticize the Bible for endorsing slavery if you can't even determine if it's wrong or right?
And first of all, I never did. So keep in mind, I'm saying that I have a subjective worldview. When I say that the God of the Bible endorses slavery, I'm saying that the God of the Bible endorses slavery. I don't have to say it's wrong. You think it's wrong, don't you?
I do think
Huh?
slavery is wrong.
Well, there you go. See, this is the fun thing about this argument is it doesn't matter what I think. I can use your own subjective moral systems to demonstrate that the God of the Bible is not good because the God of the Bible tells you, in fact,
Well, no, no, no,
that
no, no, no. Oh,
he likes things that
sorry,
you don't.
but you said you're demonstrating that he's not good.
No, no,
So, so
I'm
whether or not,
demonstrating in your framework that he's not good. Like in my framework, he's not good either. But I'm admitting
well,
that mine's subjective.
I can interpret the Bible in a way that makes my view commensurate with the Bible, and I have done that. So,
So then you're
so
pro-slavery.
I'm not pro-slavery.
But the God of the Bible is.
Well, there's a passage in, I think it's in the book of Matthew. They ask Jesus why he had permitted Moses to allow people to divorce their wives,
Yeah,
and
Matthew
Jesus
19.
says, yeah, yeah, and Jesus says that because their hearts were hard. So
Why would you think that
God,
that applies to anything but divorce?
Why would I think that applies to anything but divorce?
Yeah.
So we have a
Did
lot of
Jesus say
moral.
that that
Whoa, whoa,
applies
whoa.
to slavery?
He didn't explicitly say that,
I know it
and he applies a
explicitly
lot of. Wait,
says
wait, wait, wait.
marriage.
No, but there's an answer. That
It's not
the
an
answer is the
answer.
most important thing.
The answer
No, he says
is
because your
you
hearts
lying.
no, no, no. He says your hearts were hard,
Yeah, no.
right? So he says that he had to progressively lead them to the right path because they wouldn't accept it before because they were too far gone.
On
So for me, that's
divorce.
the principle. Not on only divorce.
Did he
Okay,
say
there are
anything
lots
other
of
than divorce?
no, he didn't
Okay, then
specifically
how
say
are
just
you
divorce.
arbitrarily putting it on slavery?
I'm not arbitrarily doing that.
You are. You're saying
So
that what Jesus said about marriage must also apply to slavery. That's not
okay,
connected. That's a
okay,
non
okay.
sequitur.
I think you're being a bit disingenuous, but I'll explain why
I'm
I'm saying
not.
that.
I'm telling
I,
you why your logic doesn't work. You're saying because
okay,
God
can
gave
I
one
explain it though?
command that wasn't his ideal command.
No, no,
Now,
no.
anytime I see a command of God, I can just say, well, this isn't God's ideal command. He didn't actually mean this.
Okay, let's see if we can apply that standard consistently. So when the woman is being stoned, right? Jesus says, "Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone." Does that mean in any other scenario they can just stone someone,
Actually,
or is he specifically telling them not to stone people
neither.
because they have also sinned?
It's doing neither. So you've got two problems with John chapter 8. The first problem is Jesus didn't say any of that nonsense. That was added in the 5th century. That's not in any of the ancient manuscripts. The second problem is Jesus didn't actually tell them not to stone the woman. What Jesus said was, guess what? If you stone the woman according to the law of Moses, you're next. And then they all decided, well,
No,
I
no.
guess we don't actually want that to happen.
Ah, bro, come on. He
That's what
says, "Let
happened.
he who is without sin cast the first stone."
Yeah, exactly. Why would he say that? Is it
Yes.
because the
You can
people
no,
who
no,
were
no.
accusing her also had sins that were worthy of
Yes.
capital punishment?
Yes. So if you're gonna
Okay, so
stone
what
him,
he said
yeah.
was
So
if you
so
stone
what
the
is
woman, you're next. That's what he's essentially saying.
no?
That's
That's your
literally what he's
interpretation.
saying.
That's based on your previous assumptions.
No, it's
My
not based on my
assumption is that
previous
Jesus. No, no,
assumptions.
no.
It's based on what the text
My
says.
assumption. No, the text says
Jesus says to follow the
commensurate.
law of
No, no, no. Wait,
Moses.
wait, 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 wait. Commensurate with the rest of the text, Jesus continually speaks about repentance, right, and not judging others. So your interpretation is completely removed from the rest of the text.
No, it's not.
I'm trying to make the text work with the text.
Wrong again. My interpretation is commensurate with the text. Jesus chastises the Pharisees in an actual original passage, not something added in the 5th century. In Mark chapter
No, no,
7,
no.
he
What's
chastises
your
the
proof for that?
Pharisees for not stoning children.
What's your proof for that?
Proof of what?
That it was added in the 5th century.
Because it doesn't exist in a single manuscript until the 5th century.
So you're telling me that we have all the manuscripts from before the 5th century?
What I'm saying is, we don't have a single manuscript before the 5th century that includes John chapter 8. It seems to be a passage that was added much later, like the ending of Mark. Mark chapter 16 has two different endings that were added later. It's not a difficult concept. Romans, you with us? Romans.
Oh, was I lost?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. No, I was saying that I don't really believe what you're saying about it being added in the 5th century. I'd have to research that further.
Well, then find me a
So I don't
manuscript
think
prior to the 5th century that contains it.
but it also doesn't work because do we have all? Are you expecting us to have all the manuscripts?
I never said we did. What I said is we don't have a single manuscript that contains that passage until the 5th century. So what I'm saying is that the evidence we do have shows that it was added
So
much later. If you think that it wasn't added later, you would need to provide evidence for it.
I don't think it was added later,
Then prove
right?
it.
But I'll have to research that because no, because this is something that someone would have to come up with in a more formal debate. You know, you can't exhaustively prepare for everything,
Fair
right?
enough. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, objective morals, right? You
Yeah,
haven't
objective
you
moral.
haven't come even remotely close to demonstrating that objective morals exist.
Well, I'm not trying to demonstrate it. I'm trying to say that no moral system can exist without it being objective,
Why?
right? Because you have to have some positive direction that you're moving towards. And if you can't justify that, then it doesn't work. The whole system collapses.
No. So subjective morals are, in fact, something that people agree on as a collective. Like we come together and we
Mhm.
decide what kind of laws we want. So, like in the state of Ohio, I think it's been over a year and a half now, maybe like a year, maybe a year and a half ago, the state of Ohio legalized electric lettuce. We came together, we had a referendum, and then we decided that we were going to legalize it. That's how subjective morals work. We come together as people. We say, hey, you want this? You want this? Yeah, we all kind of want this. Let's make it a thing.
Why? Why do your opinions have any value?
Because that's all we have. If
But
there is objective morals, then you would have to know where they're at, and everyone would have to agree as to what they were, and then you're right at the starting block. Everyone using their own subjective opinion to determine what they think is objective. You didn't get anywhere.
well, I mean, we have this belief that in Christianity that the law is written in our hearts. So
Oh, it's certainly
everyone
not.
imperfect come to the no, we believe that
Certainly couldn't
every
be.
culture no, we believe that every culture
It couldn't be if your
imperfectly
God is
comes.
against slavery.
What?
It could not be if your God is against slavery, because both your book, the people in your book, and most of the people in history thought that slavery was okay. So it certainly wasn't written on their heart.
Well, not perfectly written in their heart.
It's not
That's
at
the point of
all.
no, not at all. Not perfectly written in the heart. Imperfect. It's in the heart, but they choose to harden the heart.
What's the
That's
point
how. That's
of
what we
writing
believe.
something imperfect? How could you possibly prove that it was written on their hearts and they're just deceiving
No.
themselves by lying
It
about what's
wasn't.
written on their heart? The lies you have to tell
Well,
yourself is wild.
no, this is not an argument. I'm just telling you what we believe.
No,
I'm saying,
I know what
right?
you believe.
Because
So Romans, just hold on one second. Hold on one second. I know everything you believe. I was a Christian for 20
you don't
years.
know everything I believe.
I know everything you're going to tell me, right? So I'm not interested in you telling me what you believe. I want the argument for why you believe it.
Well, I mean, I think the tides and twists and turns of the conversation led us here. But I think I should clarify the point, right? We created the fall happened. Now the world is imperfect. That's a perfectly good explanation
Oh, it's
for
not at
all
all.
the moral. Well, within our system, it is. What do you
Well,
mean, not
the
at
fall
all?
of Adam has nothing to do with objective morals.
So,
Now you're just
no, it
making it.
has
Now
because
you're just
no.
making excuses why no one can figure out what the objective morals are.
Exactly.
So what's more parsimonious, that
It's
God
not
wrote
an
it on everybody's
no.
heart and we just can't figure out what they are, or that they
Come
just don't
on, bro.
exist?
Come on. It provides a good explanation
It
for
actually
why we
doesn't.
try. Why
It's a
it
Looney
provides a good
Tunes
no,
it's a
but you
Looney
don't know what
Tunes
I'm saying.
explanation.
Listen to what I'm saying. It provides a good explanation as to why everyone has some sense of what is the good,
They don't.
right? What do you mean they don't?
They don't. Do you think what happened in World War II in Germany was good?
It was not good. It was
Yeah.
evil, and the world agrees that it was evil.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people thought it was good.
Yes, they were wrong.
I know. I disagree with them
That's
too,
because
but they
no,
thought they were right. So
yeah,
this is the problem with your worldview, Romans,
no.
is because you believe that God literally wrote all the same stuff on everyone's heart, but nobody can figure out and come to an agreement on what that good stuff is, right? So you're right back
But
at
like,
square one. You're no better
but
than
I'm not
someone who
though.
believes in subjective morals, because you
But
can't
I'm
tell
not
me
though.
with any sort of discernment what the objective morals are.
I can tell you what the objective morals are.
Oh, what are they?
But let me address the point
Is
about
every law of
what
God
happened in
objective?
every moral law,
No, every law.
not objective at all times, not every law. Every
So then they're
moral
not
law.
objective.
No, the moral law is objective.
So, but morals don't change in time. Like it was never okay to do
Now I'm
something
talking about
then, and then now it's okay today. Like if it's objective,
no.
if it's objectively wrong to schmurder, then it's always wrong to schmurder.
Yes, that's a moral law. It's always wrong. It's always wrong to murder.
Okay, so then it is objectively moral to stone women that don't bleed on their wedding night.
Yes, that's wrong.
No, it's objectively very right. God said to do it. God commanded it in Deuteronomy 22. It's a moral law.
We know that. Well, look, I believe. This is what I believe.
Is it I know what you believe. I'm
No.
asking,
Let me
is
tell
it
you.
objectively
You don't know what
moral
I
to
believe.
stone a woman who doesn't bleed on her wedding night?
No, that's not objectively moral.
Well, then how come your God said to do it?
Well, a lot of the laws in the Old Testament are types of what the entire Christian.
God said to do
No.
something objectively immoral so that he can give you a foreshadowing. Foreshadowing of what? Do you hear yourself right now? This is crazy. First of all, objectives are moral, but you can't know what they are. Number two, God said to do things that are not objectively moral just so later you can have a foreshadowing. What's this foreshadow?
But listen to what I'm saying. All I have to do is make my system commensurate with itself.
No. Answer my question, Romans.
Wait.
What is Deuteronomy 22 foreshadowing?
What is foreshadowing?
You said it's a type. Yeah, what's it a type for?
That sin leads to death.
That's every law. Every law that has capital punishment would say the same thing. Then you wouldn't need all these laws. You would only need one law.
Why? What standard do you have for
it also isn't true. That can't be what this means, right? Because all of the laws would therefore lead to death, which means all of the laws in the Old Testament would have to result in capital punishment, but they don't. So that doesn't follow.
Look, man, let me tell you what you won't let me speak.
Look. All right, go ahead. Say what you gotta say. It's not going to help you, just so you know.
Yeah, man, you're really smart. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that all that I have to do is make my system commensurate with itself. But what you're doing, right, is you're coming from the outside, criticizing it morally when you've already admitted that you're subjectivist.
I'm not criticizing it morally. I'm pointing out the inconsistencies in your worldview.
Well, they're not inconsistencies.
They are.
In my worldview.
Because you believe that God is objectively moral and his moral laws are objective and unchanging. And then I show you one of the objective morals and you don't like it.
Well, now you just put words in my mouth. I never said unchanging.
No, you agreed with me that if it's objectively moral at one time,
no, I didn't.
You did.
Yeah, I remember you spoke
Romans. You can walk this back later, and you can watch yourself lie in real time. You agreed with me that if it's wrong to murder somebody, then it's always wrong to murder somebody.
Yes, murder.
Yeah, why? Because morals are what?
You're trying to sneak in
because in your worldview, morals are what?
You're being a sophist.
In your worldview, morals are what?
I didn't mean all the laws.
So murder is not objectively wrong.
Murder is objectively
wrong. Which ones are objectively wrong?
There are certain laws that
are meant
for a specific time.
How do you know which ones?
Well, the church determines which ones.
So the church, that sounds subjective as fuck. You've got a bunch of dudes sitting around in robes saying, well, now this one applies and this one doesn't. Now this one doesn't apply and this one does. You're back at square one. You've got the same subjective framework as I have.
No, listen. I understand. You're very logical. You're very smart. I'm not being sarcastic, but you have to understand. You don't understand the ecclesiology behind the Orthodox Church. We don't believe that the Orthodox Church is a body of men. It's led by the Holy Spirit. It's the interpreter of it.
Doesn't matter if it's the Holy Spirit or not. It's still subjective and changing.
It's not subjective. It's not subjective.
It is subjective, yes.
Okay, if the Holy Spirit
It's
is
actually,
leading
if it
a
comes from the Holy
concerning
Spirit, then it is
to come
inherently
to it,
subjective because it's dependent on the mind of God.
how is that
So
subjective?
that's what subjective means.
No,
Subjective means mind dependent.
it means mind dependent,
Yeah.
but it's at a meta level though.
No,
So
it's not. It
no,
can't
no, no,
it can't be
no,
mind
no. But like,
dependent and also be objective.
what does independent of mind? What do you mean?
Independent
Do you
of
know?
mind would be objective. What you're describing is something
Yeah.
that is dependent on mind. It's dependent on God's mind, which means it's not actually objective, it's subjective. So you agree with
But
me
that
that
mind,
morals
that
actually are subjective. You're not a moral objectivist. You actually believe in divine command theory.
the mind is the basis of reality. How more objective can you get?
The mind is subjective. That's the definition of subjective, right? The minute anything
Okay.
becomes dependent on a mind, it is by definition subjective.
Colloquially, what do you mean by objective morals?
Not dependent on the mind. It doesn't matter what anyone
No,
thinks.
that's
It doesn't
no,
matter
no, no,
what
no.
anyone
That's
says.
not
It
what you
means
mean when you say
it means
objective
it's
morality.
entirely independent of anyone's thought process.
That's not even what you mean when you say
That's
objective morality.
100% what I mean. Don't tell me what
No,
I
no, it's
mean when
not.
I give you definitions that are in my head.
You've been doing that the whole time, telling me what
I
I believe.
I know what you believe, and every time you said it,
You
I
don't know
was
what
right.
you don't know what I believe.
I
You
know
said the
exactly what you
Orthodox.
believe. You believe that if God
No,
says
you
it, then
said
it's good.
no. Yes,
Yeah, I know.
because
I know
God said
exactly
it.
what you believe. I don't know why you keep running away from it. So this is actually really easy. Okay, so you don't
Yeah, if God says it, it's
just
good.
follow just Romans. Just pay attention.
I'm
All right,
challenging.
I need you to
Hmm.
pay attention for 5 seconds, right? Because
Yeah.
these are basic English definitions, right? If
Mhm.
God says it and it's be good because God says it, right? Not because it's good outside of God, right? If it's only
Mhm.
good because God tells you to
But there
do
is no
it,
outside of God.
Romans, listen. If it's only good because God told you to do it, that means it's subject to the mind of God. If it's objectively good, even if God didn't exist and the thing was still true, then it would be objectively good. But then you've got a kind of a double bind, right? Because if it's objectively good outside of the mind of God, that means God is bound by objective morals rather than the source of morals. So
Yes.
you've got one huge problem here, right? If you believe in
Well,
a
I like it. I like the line of thinking.
Romans, pay attention. If you believe in
I-
actual objective morals, then you can't believe in a God that is all powerful because he is bound by objective morals. If you believe that all good things, all moral things come from God, then you don't believe in objective morals. You believe in divine command theory.
I like your line of thinking, but you're coming to the wrong conclusion,
It's
right?
100% the right conclusion. Plato came to that conclusion 2,500 years ago. It's not even a hard one.
Okay, like let me explain what I believe, though.
I know what you believe. I want an argument for what
But
you
like,
believe.
let me give you an argument. You're not letting me give you anything.
But you don't have to tell me what you believe. Give me the argument for why what you
Okay,
believe is true.
okay, okay. You said that, right? If that because the morality is dependent on the mind of God, it's subjective, right?
Yeah.
But I would say because all of reality in that system is dependent on the mind of God, right? Everything within creation is dependent on the mind of God. So within creation itself, when those moral laws are, are applied by God, they are independent inside the bubble of creation. They are objective because
They're
they are
not
true.
objective.
They are objective,
They're dependent on God's
right?
mind. That makes them subjective. I don't know why this is so hard for you.
No,
All right, so we'll just try this again.
but it's
So
meta. It's at a
so
meta level, though. It's at a meta level.
no,
It's at a meta
just you
level.
have no idea what that word means. So
I do.
if something is objective, that means there are precisely zero minds that are making it
But
objective.
then that would be self-refuting.
I know. That's why I keep doing it. You're self-refuting
Exactly.
yourself.
So you're giving me
So
a
you're
fallacy.
self-refuting
That's
your
a
own
fallacy.
objective moral argument. You're saying you
No,
believe in
that's
objective
not
morals,
my
but those
objective
morals
moral
are
argument.
subject
That's
to the mind
yours.
of God. So you don't believe in objective
No.
morals. You believe in subjective morals because they are subject to the mind of God. These are how basic definitions work. I don't want to explain it 3 times.
Yes, they're subject to the mind of God. The mind of God is not like your
That
mind.
means
The mind of God is the basis of all reality.
that means morals
within
are
the bubble of
subjective.
creation. Oh, come
All right,
on, Chief.
I'll lay it out in premises for you since you're not following. Okay. So premise number 1 is anything that is objective is not dependent on any minds at all. Follow?
No, I don't accept that premise.
Well, then you're wrong.
I'm not wrong. You know why?
No, you're wrong because that's what objective means.
No. Can I tell you why I'm not wrong?
You're wrong because you don't know English.
Can I tell you why I'm not wrong?
You're welcome to, but you're going to be wrong.
I'm welcome to. Please let me. I will. Right? So in the Christian worldview, we would say that all of reality is dependent on the mind of God.
Romans, this is not an explanation. I already know what you believe.
So is all of reality subjective
Romans,
then?
Everyone here knows what you believe. You don't have to keep restating it, right? What I'm trying to help you understand is that what you believe isn't what you think you believe. The definition,
I know what I believe.
The definition of objective, that word means that it is 100% not dependent on any minds. 0 minds. Do you follow?
I follow.
Okay, so premise number 1, anything that is objective is not dependent on any mind. Follow? Okay. Premise number 2, morals are objective, right? Okay, so then the conclusion would be that morals can't be dependent on the mind of God because God's mind is a mind.
Yes, sir.
So then you agree with me that morals aren't objective, they are subjective.
Can I tell you why that's a circle?
It's not a circle. You agreed to it.
No, can I tell you why that's a circle?
We'll try this again. We'll do it backwards. Okay. So premise number 1.
Come on, Shane. Come on. You're silencing me.
Well, I'm not silencing you. I need you to focus. I don't want to have to explain this 15 times.
I'm really focused.
Everybody in the chat gets it. Everyone here gets it but you. So I just need you to put your listening cap on. Put your listening cap on. Put your thinking hat on. We're going to go slow. Okay. So premise number 1, something depend, or we'll say anything, meaning there's no limit. Okay. Anything that is dependent on any mind is subjective. Yes or no?
No.
Well, you're wrong. That's the definition of the word. So the problem is you don't know how to. No, you can't explain. It's definitions. You can't explain anything.
It's not that simple.
It is that simple. That's what words mean. Listen, words have meanings here. I know they don't have meanings to you because you're a Christian, but words do actually have meanings here. Anything that is dependent on a mind is anything dependent on a mind is subjective. If it's
those meanings come with
not dependent, if it's not dependent on a mind, then it's in fact objective. What you're describing is dependent on a mind, which makes it subjective.
So let me tell you what you're doing. You're basically saying that the world is uncreated. Therefore, the world is uncreated.
This is definitionally true.
By God.
I didn't say any of that.
That's what you're saying.
I didn't say any of that.
Let me tell you why that's what you're saying.
I didn't say that. What I said was that what you actually believe.
But that's the logical consequence
it's
of
not.
it. You're basically
what you said.
That God didn't create the world. Therefore, God didn't create the world.
I didn't say any of that.
My argument is that the world is dependent on God's mind.
Romans, can you repeat my argument back to me? Because I didn't say a damn thing about the world.
I understand you didn't.
Romans, repeat my argument back to me.
Oh, bro.
We're not moving
Okay.
on until you steel man my argument, because I don't think you heard it.
You said that the definition of subjective, right, is that it's objective, is that something that is independent of a mind, right?
Yes, and do you agree with that definition?
And yes and no.
Okay, so premise number 1, something that is objective is completely independent of any and all minds. We agree on that. Now,
I'm making a deeper argument here,
I'm
man.
not
You
Romans.
refuse to listen.
Romans, pay attention. This is so easy. I don't know why you can't grasp it. So, are morals
Okay. Look, man,
dependent on a
can I
mind or
just have
not?
can I have 60 seconds to talk uninterrupted?
No, Romans, I want you to follow the line of logic and stop running away from it. We're not going to move on. You're not going to pivot. You're not going to run away. We literally just started the live like an hour or something ago. I don't want to do this all night with you. Just focus up. Be an adult for 5 seconds. We literally, all we have to do is get through this one argument, and then you can pivot to any fucking thing you want to. Anything. We just need this one argument to be finished.
Why do I not force me to accept your
So-
your argument when I believe it's not that simple?
It is that simple, because we're not talking about
You're
anything.
just claiming
We're not
that.
talking about anything other than the word objective and subjective. That's all we're talking about right now.
Yes,
So all's
definitions
we're-
do not stand
So
alone.
all's
They
we're-
come with certain assumptions.
Romans, if you don't stop talking over me, I'm going to move on to someone who will have a real conversation with me. So,
Okay, man.
So pay attention. We're going to have a singular discussion about the definition of words. You've agreed with me, and then you ran away from it 5 times. This is the last time we're going to do it. So the definition of subjective, anything that is subjective is then dependent on a mind, correct?
Yes, based on that definition, yes.
Okay. And based on the definition of objective, anything or everything that is objective is not dependent on any minds, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, morals in your worldview are, in fact, a product of a mind. They are subject to a mind, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That makes them, by definition, subjective. Because if they were objective, they wouldn't be dependent on a mind. And since they are dependent on a mind, that makes them subjective. Do you follow?
Yes, sir. I follow.
Okay, so do you agree then in your worldview, using those definitions, the ones that are in the actual dictionary, that you actually believe that morals are subjective, subject to the mind of God?
Using those definitions, yes.
Well, those are the only definitions you have. I don't know if English is your second language, but it's my first language. That's what those words mean. Do I need to bring a dictionary into this?
Now, can I speak, please?
Do I need to bring a dictionary into it?
You don't need to, man.
Can you provide an alternative definition that's from a dictionary?
Can I try to communicate something, and if it doesn't make sense?
No, I
then
need
can
you and me to agree on definitions of words, or we will not be moving forward.
Okay, man. I concede your argument. You're right. I believe in subjective morality. Can I take another angle to this discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. So, right, as a theist, I believe that God created the world. So, in a way, the world is dependent on God's mind, right?
Mhm.
So, would you say that things that exist in the world, like the earth, would you say the earth in itself is objective?
Objective wouldn't be the way I would phrase it, but you could say that, yeah.
Yeah, you could say that.
In my worldview, not in your worldview.
Yes, exactly.
But
right.
But
I would say that
objectively,
the earth is dependent on a mind,
well, yeah, and I wouldn't.
which would be a view of sort of divine conceptualism. I would say that, right?
Mhm.
Right. So I would say that the earth is dependent on God's mind.
I know.
So that's my view. So your
But
argument,
I don't know why you're explaining
becomes a
that.
circle.
Literally, everyone knows that.
Yeah,
Like
your
no
view
one's
in
questioning
my
whether or not you think God didn't create the earth. We know that you believe God created the earth. This isn't hard.
yes. So you see those assumptions that lead to my conclusion. So you assume
No,
that God didn't create the earth.
no,
I assume
you
that.
didn't state a conclusion that's meaningful. No, like
Yeah, I'm leading to it,
no
man.
one's questioning whether or not you think God created the earth.
I'm leading to it. I know that.
We're talking about morals and not the earth, right?
Yes, but I'm making an analogy.
Well, it's not an analogy because one of them exists in the physical world and one of them doesn't.
Exists metaphysically, I believe.
I don't think it does exist metaphysically. Make the argument for that.
Yes, exactly.
Make
Yes.
make
So
the
this
argument
is why.
for morals existing metaphysically, and keep in mind when you do it, you're going to give an argument for objective morals, and we're going to go right back to square one because metaphysically existing morals are in fact objective.
Or in fact objective.
You know there's a way
But
around this.
but
You know you could
they
just
exist in the mind of
if
God.
you actually read the
So they still.
literature, you know there's a way around this, right? You obviously don't know
I
because
don't
you would
need
have
to
given
read
it
it.
to me.
I don't need to read the literature.
Okay, so
I just need my.
I'll give you a head start because I don't want to have this conversation. So the way
You don't want to
the way
because you
you
know.
solve this, no,
Yeah,
I'm
you're very disingenuous.
Romans.
That's
I'm
all
fast
you've been
forwarding the
doing, just shutting me down.
conversation because I've had this 5,000 times, and I already know
No, you've
I
not.
already know the better
You
argument
haven't.
from your worldview. So the better argument from
You don't know.
your
You don't even know my argument.
I don't need to know your argument. What you're going to say is that morals exist metaphysically, and they exist metaphysically because of the mind of God. That was already the argument that you made. That's a shitty argument because if they exist metaphysically from the mind of God, you can't prove it. It makes it subjective. If you think that they exist metaphysically without the mind of God, then they're objective, and we're back at square one, and God is bound by objective morals. The better argument for metaphysical morals existing is not that they come from the mind of God. You're supposed to say that they come from God's nature. That's how you get around the nonsense paradox that you're trapped in right now. Do you see?
I don't agree.
Oh, fuck. Okay, whatever. You're just not good at this, I guess.
Yeah, you're good at talking
Romans,
over
I
people.
wouldn't have to talk over you if we were having a productive dialogue.
I tried to, but you kept talking over me.
No, you were dodging, so I kept redirecting you.
I wasn't dodging anything.
You were running away from the conversation.
My view is much more complex than you think.
I don't think it's complex at all. I've heard it 5,000 times.
No, you've not heard it.
What you believe is that morals exist and they are dependent on the mind of God, right?
Yes.
You think that's something new? You think you invented that?
No. You just kept
Buddy, I've literally had like at this point I've probably had like 3,000 debates. You can't believe that you're the first person who's got on my live stream and said, I think objective morals come from the mind of God. Please tell me you don't think you're the first person to say that.
Of course, I don't think I am.
Okay,
but you didn't let me
then you're not
the whole time.
Because you're not doing anything for your argument here. This is like really embarrassing for you. So the fact of the matter is,
you didn't let me make
if you believe that morals are subjective, right? Then you no longer have objective morals, and you've now claimed.
I don't believe morals are subjective.
But you described morals that are in fact subjective. You just don't know that they're subjective because you don't know how words work.
You just don't want to hear my argument.
Romans, you told me yourself using the actual syllogism we put together that it is true that morals are subject to the mind of God. That makes them subjective.
Under your purposefully simplistic definitions.
Give me a different fucking definition then. Go to the dictionary and give me a different definition.
Oh yeah, go to the dictionary. You're still trying to control where I get the definition.
Romans, give me an actual dictionary definition of those words that are different from what I use.
Dictionary definition. I'm not going to sneak up on you. You're going to hear the definition and hear if it makes sense or not.
I'm not going to hear shit. If you can't agree on what
words, talking over me.
If you can't agree on what words mean in the English language, then we can't move forward. We're both speaking English. The two words, objective and subjective, have meanings in the English language. When we use those words, we use them according to the meaning of the words in English. If you think that they should be defined something different than what they're actually defined as, then you need to call up the dictionary, have them change it, or you got to use a different word. If objective and subjective aren't the words you're looking for, you need different words, Romans. Do you understand?
I understand you, man.
Okay, so if you
And
don't like
I think
those
I think
definitions of those words, then what other words would you like to use?
okay. Now, what I was saying, here's what I meant. Do you remember when I
Did
said
you hear my
you
question,
were?
Romans?
I heard your question, and I'm
Romans,
thinking through it.
I don't know why you think I'm going to let you run away from just answering my simple question. If those words, the way they're defined in the English dictionary, don't mean what you want them to mean, then is there another word we can substitute?
I think the word mean. I think the words mean what I want them to mean, right?
Okay,
But I
well,
don't think the
then we'll start.
definitions
We'll
can be
start here,
used
Romans. Give me
simplistically.
the definition of the word subjective.
Something subjective is something that's independent of a mind.
Wrong. That's literally the opposite. Did you? I said subjective. Did I not? What does the word subjective mean? Is he Googling it? Where is he going? I never thought I'd have to have a half-hour conversation on the definition of two basic English words. It was crazy.
I'm literally giving you that. Oh, sorry, you didn't hear me. I said it's dependent on a mind.
Okay,
I mean, it's yeah.
so subjective means it's
Hmm.
dependent on a mind. And
Yeah,
objective would be the opposite, right?
yeah,
Okay, so something that's objective is independent of any and all minds, correct?
yeah,
Okay, those are the identical definitions that you said I was using that you didn't like.
yeah. But can I add?
Which
Can I
means
add something to the definition?
your definitions are exactly the same as my definitions, and you already
Not
agreed
exactly the
to the
same.
syllogism using my definitions, which means you're beyond help, Romans. All right, you need to try this again in a different language. You shouldn't be speaking English. This is not the place for you to be. We're not
It's
going to do this
dependent on a
anymore.
mind within a system.
Yeah, that's meaningless. Okay, I can't do that guy anymore. He's too much for me. You can only have the same circular argument over and over again before it's just too much.